To fill my little nest egg, I volunteered to marry the disabled tycoon that even my younger siblings despised. For 3 years, I treated the tycoon like a best guy friend and finally saved enough for retirement. I proposed a divorce, but the tycoon suddenly stood up. I looked up at him in disbelief, a medical miracle. The tycoon smirked coldly. If I kept pretending, my wife would run away. Giving you another chance, still want that divorce? Mom, Dad, are you really willing to throw me into a pit of fire? Yes, no matter how rich Grayson is, he's disabled. If sister marries him, her life will be ruined. I don't want this either, but the company urgently needs funds to stay afloat. Just endure it for now, you can divorce him in a few years. Watching my distressed parents, my furious younger brother, and my devastated sister, I, the bystander calmly eating melon seeds, decided to step forward. Raising my hand high, I declared, I'll marry him. Hearing this, my parents stopped sighing, and my younger sister stopped crying, all turning their eyes to me. I immediately declared my stance, I'm serious. I don't believe in love. It doesn't matter who I marry, and marrying Grayson can help the family solve our urgent financial problems. Good girl, Dad praised softly. What had been a fierce family dispute moments ago was now resolved in the next instant. A month later, Grayson and I held a grand wedding. By the time the guests had all left and we returned to the villa where Grayson lived, it was already 11 p.m. I rushed straight to the new house, changed out of the obstructive red toast dress into loose loungewear, then clattered down the stairs and dashed into the kitchen to grab a palm-sized cake. As I was wolfing it down, Grayson wheeled himself into the kitchen and frowned slightly at my ravenous, reincarnated hungry ghost appearance. Are you hungry too? Want some? This cake is delicious. After taking a refreshing sip of lemon tea, I stuffed a small piece into Grayson's hand before cutting another large slice for myself. Were you really that hungry? Grayson looked utterly baffled. Yes, absolutely, I swallowed my food and responded immediately. To prove my words weren't false, I even lifted the hem of my shirt. See, I'm so hungry my stomach's clinging to my back. Riley. Grayson suddenly raised his voice and called my full name. Startled, I sheepishly put down the red wine in my hand, muttering under my breath, it's just a bottle of wine. Was raising your voice really necessary? Stingy, we're married and I still can't drink a bottle of your wine. Complaints aside, after Grayson finished his cake, I obediently pushed him back to the room. Need any help? Are you sure you can bathe alone? I leaned against the bathroom door with a hint of doubt. I can do it, you go out first. Grayson sounded a bit impatient. Alright, I'll leave the pajamas and towel here for you. The daily affairs concerning Grayson were originally handled by dedicated staff, but after I married in, it became inappropriate for them to freely enter this room, so the responsibility has now been transferred to me. I casually closed the door and lay down on the bed to play with my phone. The news of my marriage to Grayson even made it to the entertainment section. When I clicked on the comments, opinions were all over the place. Gotta admit, the bride and Grayson look pretty well matched in terms of appearance. Wah, my favorite ship has sunk. I always thought Grayson and his daughter would grow old together. This woman must be desperate for money, marrying a cripple to live like a widow. It's good to be rich, even if you're disabled, you can still marry a beautiful wife. My daughter posted a new update. From her words, it's clear she still can't forget Grayson. Good heavens, just look at what you've done. Who is this daughter the netizens are talking about? I'm so curious. Gossiping is human nature, so after piecing together bits of information, I finally got the gist of it. The daughter mentioned by netizens turns out to be Sophia, an emerging young celebrity. She was once Grayson's lover, but after Grayson got into a car accident and injured his leg, he broke up with her to avoid burdening her. So it was his ex-girlfriend after all. Out of curiosity, I scrolled through her profile, unsurprisingly stunning, as befits someone famous in the entertainment industry. Compared to me, Sophia and Grayson look far more compatible. Too bad fate had other plans for them. But to be fair, the caption on her latest post, "Farewell, my love, tomorrow I set sail." Isn't that just a line from a song? How did netizens even conclude that Sophia still has lingering feelings for Grayson? Grayson, freshly showered, interrupted my nosy sleuthing. Putting down my phone, I stole a glance at Grayson and asked hesitantly, "So, are we still going to sleep together?" Grayson visibly froze for a moment before his expression darkened. "Riley, have you no shame?" "Why should I be ashamed? Isn't it just like eating and drinking, a basic physical need? Besides, we've already gotten to this stage, is it wrong to ask?" Clearly unprepared for my bluntness, Grayson was momentarily speechless before collapsing back onto the bed in resignation. "We've been busy all day. Aren't you tired? Let's sleep." Seeing Grayson change the subject, I couldn't help but think of those netizens' comments about living like a widow. Just because his leg was injured, surely it wouldn't affect our, life's harmony, right? But what if it did? No, I had to test this out. "I'm fine, I can handle this level of activity." "If you're tired, I can do the moving, after all, you aren't exactly in a convenient position right now." As I spoke, my hands were far from idle, making a mess of Grayson's silk pajamas. "Riley!" Grayson's handsome face flushed red as he yelled, his eyes filled with a strong warning. "I'm sorry." I immediately knelt down timidly and obediently lay flat. But I couldn't sleep a wink. The question of whether he was actually impotent kept lingering in my mind. Maybe I should just ask directly. After all, a couple should be open with each other, and mainly, I was afraid of bottling it up until it hurt. "Darling, I want to ask you a very serious question. Will you answer me truthfully?" I turned to face Grayson. Grayson paused midway while turning off the light, glanced at me coldly, and said tersely, "Speak. Can your third leg still stand up? Are you really tired today or just trying to avoid me?" "Riley, you." Grayson's chest heaved violently. Seeing that he was merely fuming with anger without any intention of hitting me, I subtly shifted my slightly retreated body back to its original position, looking up at Grayson with hopeful eyes, wishing he could give me a definite answer. After a long silence, Grayson spoke with difficulty, his voice heavy. "I'm sorry for dragging you into this. I can't give you what you want. You can find other men, just don't let me see it." I widened my eyes. I had braced myself for the worst outcome before asking, but was still momentarily stunned. Yet, I never expected Grayson to be so understanding, his spinelessness even made me regret prying. "Grayson!" This time, it was my turn to shout. "Even though ours is a marriage of convenience without love, I won't let you degrade yourself and disgust me. That kind of thing isn't that important." Grayson wasn't moved by my impassioned declaration. Instead, he quietly echoed my earlier words, "If it's as routine as eating and drinking, how could it not be important?" The slap in the face came so quickly that I defiantly defended myself, stiffening my neck. "Eating and drinking are for satiety and quenching thirst, whether it's rice, steamed buns, bread, water, cola, or milk tea, it all serves the same purpose. You can't do it, I can use toys, it's the same." The harsh truth angered Grayson again, and he snapped at me, "If you can sleep, sleep. If not, get out. Enough talking, let's sleep." The next morning, Grayson was no longer beside her. Despite his physical disability, he remained strong-willed and had already started working early in the morning. "Riley." "From now on, the household management will be in your hands." Stop. Isn't there a butler? Leave professional matters to professionals. I don't understand these things. The marriage was essentially a bargaining chip exchange. While Grayson's dowry of $200 million landed in my hands, only $500,000 actually remained, the rest was used to cover my father's company losses. If I take this job, won't I have to devote all my time and energy to this villa? I still need side gigs to earn my retirement money. Thinking of this, I looked sheepish. "Honey, will you give me pocket money?" Grayson's expression was complicated. Yes, I'll give you a supplementary card later. Can you transfer it to me instead? How much a month? Grayson asked coldly. Food and accommodation are already covered, no need to be too greedy. Just like at home, 100,000. Grayson looked at me in surprise. I cautiously met his gaze. Was I asking for too much? Demanding money from one's husband on the second day of marriage was perhaps a bit excessive. Oh, 50,000 will do. Grayson sighed. I'll give you 500,000. How much? 500,000? After a stunned pause, I jumped up, leaned over to hug Grayson's neck, and excitedly kissed his cheek. Thank you, hubby. Then I rushed out of the room and ran up and down the hallway 3 times before barely calming down. Hubby, what day will my allowance be transferred? The 10th of every month, Grayson said, his ears slightly red. 3 days later, Grayson pushed aside some work to accompany me home to pick out gifts. I'm going to the bathroom, wait here for me. In the middle of shopping, I said to Grayson, who nodded helplessly. In just a short time away, Grayson got into trouble. What are you doing? What's going on? Picking on my husband because he's disabled? I pushed through the indifferent onlookers, using my bag to knock away the red-haired guy who was grabbing Grayson's collar, then bent down to check on him. Are you okay? Grayson shook his head to indicate he wasn't hurt. Who bullied him? Are you his wife? You came at the right time, pay up. He smashed my phone, brand new, 8,000. The red-haired guy turned and yelled at me. I ignored him and asked Grayson, what happened? He was on his phone not watching where he was going, bumped into me, and now he's trying to scam me, Grayson said coldly. Do you believe his nonsense? Clearly. You expect me to trust you, a complete stranger, over my own husband? I cut off the red-haired guy with hands on my hips. You dropped your phone yourself, saw my husband as an easy target, and now you want him to pay for it, is that it? He tripped me. Isn't it only fair that he pays? Maybe you should have watched where you were going. I haven't even blamed you for tripping my husband yet. Luckily, he didn't fall, otherwise, I'd sue you for every penny you've got. Stop making a scene. I don't have time to argue with you. Pay up. You think you can just say whatever you want? Where's the proof? Don't slander me without evidence, or I'll sue you for defamation. Just as I was arguing heatedly with the red-haired guy, Grayson, who had been watching from the sidelines, tugged at my sleeve. Honey, there's a camera over there. I immediately understood and pulled out my phone. Since there's a camera, it should have recorded what just happened. We can call the police to handle this. If it was my husband who hit you, we'll pay and apologize. But if you're faking it, you'll pay up and write a 3,000-word self-criticism. The red-haired guy's face instantly changed color. Guilty as a thief, he cursed and left. Didn't know you could argue so well, Grayson teased with a smirk. I snorted triumphantly. Better not make me mad next time, that was just warm-up. My full combat power hasn't even been unleashed yet. Okay. I don't know if it's my imagination, but Grayson's smile seemed to soften a little. This was Grayson's first relatively formal meeting with my family after our marriage. Dad didn't go to work, my younger siblings were also at home, and Mom specially made one of her signature dishes. After everyone managed to finish lunch with a mix of unfamiliarity yet warmth, my younger siblings returned to their rooms, Mom settled in the living room to watch TV, and I stayed in the yard playing with the dog. Riley, do you want to leave with me, or should I have the driver pick you up later? Hearing Grayson's voice, I inexplicably felt relieved. Let's go back together. Looking at the street scene outside the car window, a sudden sense of aimlessness, like duckweed adrift, rose in my heart at this moment. Grayson's abrupt lean scared away those fleeting sentiments like smoke dissipating. What are you doing? I frowned and questioned. Grayson looked at me strangely, his hands still moving, helping you with the seatbelt. You forgot. Why wear a seatbelt in the back row? You still need to buckle up in the back. Grayson was adamant, leaving no room for argument. Feeling guilty, I pouted and said, "You ruined my mood. Give me extra allowance." Grayson thought I was acting crazy, and silence filled the car. After a long silence, Grayson asked casually, "You don't get along with your family?" "Not exactly," I scratched my cheek and sighed. I was lost and wandering in my childhood, and was only found and brought back to inherit the family fortune in the past couple of years. You know, as the eldest daughter responsible for the family legacy, sometimes even family members are competitors who could affect my authority. I can't get too close to them. Mere familial bonds are just things imposed by blood ties. I certainly don't envy such mundane shackles. I was just talking nonsense, and Grayson listened with an indifferent expression, replying, "Oh. I really don't envy any of that." I glared and emphasized. Grayson remained unmoved, fiddling with his phone. "Got it, don't shout so loud. You'll distract the driver." Humph, as expected of a cold, emotionless marriage of convenience partner, couldn't even pretend to comfort me a little. I inwardly grumbled, pulling out my phone to play a few mini-games to distract myself. Seeing those 4 transfers of 50,000, my eyes widened like copper bells, and my heart danced like a musical fountain. Grinning from ear to ear, I lunged at Grayson. "Thank you, darling hubby." "Riley, be rational. You're so heavy, get off me, or my leg will be wrecked again." Grayson shouted, but his arms gently wrapped around me. After stabbing wool for a week, I finally finished the custom order commissioned by the customer. I stretched my waist and wandered into Grayson's study, only to find him still buried in work at 10:30. I couldn't resist scolding him. "Ruining your legs and kidneys too? Staying up late is bad for your health. Go wash up and sleep. Let me finish reviewing this report first." "Alright, I'll go run your bath for you." It's only been a month since marrying Grayson, yet it already feels like decades of mundane married life. Getting hitched without an emotional foundation just feels so uneventful. Is it because the lack of an adult life makes it feel like we're just roommates? Does that kind of thing really have such a strong catalytic effect? If we're going to spend a lifetime together, this can't go on. As I watched the water flow, my mind wandered. When Grayson finished showering and lay on the bed, I suddenly made up my mind to break the balance. After all, Grayson is impotent in that aspect, so his insecurity makes him hesitant to take the initiative. In this case, I need to be more assertive and encourage him more. After all, that kind of pleasure doesn't necessarily have to come from there. Maybe after a few tries, we'll get better at it, and both of us can be physically and emotionally satisfied. "Honey, I'm really in the mood today." My voice deliberately softened as I took Grayson's hand and guided it downward. At first, Grayson seemed to short-circuit, then reacted as if electrocuted, quickly pulling his hand away. "I need some fresh air," he said, practically fleeing as soon as the words left his mouth. I rolled over and pinned him down, my gaze full of grievance, my tone aggrieved. "I want to be closer to you. If you keep avoiding me like this, do you not intend to spend this life with me?" Hearing my accusation, Grayson sighed softly and looked steadily into my eyes. "Riley, are you sure about this? No regrets?" I had already made up my mind before marrying Grayson. After living with him for these days, I felt that although he was physically disabled, his character was excellent, and walking the long path of life with him might not be such a bad thing. "Yes, no regrets." I nodded with a smile. The next day, Grayson suddenly said to me, "We're going to Grandpa's house tonight to celebrate his birthday. I'll have the driver pick you up at 5. Why didn't you tell me earlier?" "I didn't have time to prepare." "Prepare what?" "Makeup, manicure, hairstyling, choosing an outfit, and getting a gift for Grandpa." "I've already prepared the gift. Just go to Grandpa's house as you usually do. They won't judge you." Ugh, there's no reasoning with this clueless straight guy, Grayson. It's already 3 o'clock now, time is a bit tight, but it should still be manageable. After getting ready, I appeared before Grayson, who stared at me blankly. I smirked proudly, twirling in front of him, and asked expectantly, "Well? Am I not stunning?" That's not quite it, Grayson coughed lightly, averting his gaze with a slightly awkward tone, just a bit more feminine than usual. Your effort wasn't wasted. I shouldn't have asked you in the first place. An old mountain hog can't appreciate fine grains, humph. I turned and stomped into the car in a huff, missing Grayson's doting, indulgent smile. Grayson's mother passed away early, and not long after, his father remarried and had more children. As the saying goes, with a stepmother comes a stepfather, and the already frail father-son bond was further strained by the frosty presence of the stepmother and her child. Young Grayson was dumped at his grandparents' house, losing his father's warmth forever, only receiving an icy $5 million every year. That's what Grandma told me. The old lady loved me for the sake of her grandson and gifted me a set of undoubtedly expensive jewelry. Unable to refuse, I reluctantly accepted. After coming downstairs, Grayson approached me and asked, "What did Grandma say to you?" "Lady's business, none of yours." I cheerfully wheeled Grayson into the living room to watch the news with Grandpa, enjoying the harmonious scene until Grayson's father and his entourage interrupted. "Your gesture is appreciated, I know you're busy. If you have things to attend to, you may leave. Grayson and Riley are here to keep me company." Before Grayson's father and his party could even warm their seats, Grandpa began shooing them away. Mason, Grayson's younger brother, sensing the tension, quickly stepped in with a smile to ease the situation. "Grandpa, you're joking. I know you blame Dad for not visiting often, he's genuinely busy usually. But today's your birthday, so he deliberately postponed work to be with you and even spent a long time personally selecting a gift." The relationship between Grandpa and father wasn't great, but after all, they were father and son. With a humph, Grandpa's attitude softened. The living room atmosphere was too oppressive, so I quietly slipped out to the balcony on the second floor, planning to stay there until dinner. But this peace was soon disrupted. "Sister-in-law, admiring the moon alone here?" I didn't want to chat with Mason, so I gave a faint hoping he'd take the hint. "The moon doesn't hold a candle to you, just look in the mirror and see for yourself." Ugh, my inner voice let out a groundhog scream, his disgusting words sending shivers down my spine. Most people, when ignored, would either fall silent or awkwardly walk away. But Mason was clearly a jerk, he just doubled down. "My brother is so lucky to marry such a beauty. I might never find a woman as gorgeous as my sister-in-law in the future," he sighed. "Sister-in-law, you have such a great figure. Do you work out often?" Mason leered at me with a frivolous look. "Some people are just trash at first sight." I couldn't take it anymore and slapped him. "An elder brother is like a father, and a sister-in-law is like a mother. How dare you flirt with your own mother?" Mason was completely caught off guard by my slap. Holding his cheek with one hand and pointing at me with the other, he stammered in shock and anger, You. What? You wanna hit me?" I stood on tiptoe and thrust my face forward. "Go ahead, take your shot. If you dare lay a hand on me, I'll wail like a banshee and tattle to the elders. I won't stoop to arguing with a shrew." He ground his teeth before storming off. Bad luck, I spat at Mason's retreating figure, then turned to see Grayson in the courtyard. The shadows of the trees made his face look unnervingly grim. "Is the plan proceeding smoothly?" "Find an excuse to lower the price further. They're not in a hurry to sell, wait until they've bought up everything. Put other matters aside for now and shift your focus here. No accidents, I just want to wrap things up ahead of schedule." I got up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom and heard Grayson talking to someone. Curiosity overcame my drowsiness, so I stepped out of my room to investigate. Grayson, who was on the phone in the corridor, heard footsteps behind him and turned his wheelchair around. Seeing it was me, his guarded expression relaxed slightly. "Did I disturb you?" he asked. I shook my head. "No, I woke up needing to pee." Grayson was momentarily speechless. I pushed him back to the room. After exchanging a few brief words, Grayson ended the call. "What's with this, the weather's turned cold, let's bankrupt Mason expression of yours?" I eyed Grayson suspiciously. Don't tell me just because Mason said you're not good enough for me, you're going to go nuclear on him? That day when Mason offended me, I came home and gave Grayson an exaggerated account of it. He didn't react much at the time, but turns out he's been secretly planning something big behind the scenes. What on earth goes through your mind all day? Brother against brother, for you? Grayson scoffed coldly. Well, that's a relief. For a moment I thought I was about to become the femme fatale. I patted my chest, feigning a look of lingering fear. Grayson rolled his eyes. Don't worry, you don't even meet the trigger conditions. Can't you say something pleasant for once? I huffed, slipping my hands under Grayson's shirt to feel his firm chest and abs, soothing my wounded pride. Grayson stopped my restless hands. Behave. Go to sleep. I obediently murmured, oh, then after a moment of silence, softly called, husband. Should we leave some retirement money for Dad? I cautiously suggested. Grayson ruffled my hair, his voice gentle, okay. It had been 2 weeks since I last had a meal with Grayson, as he had been extremely busy during this time. I vaguely knew he was orchestrating a grand plan, years in the making, and everything was about to come to fruition. That day, as I passed by Grayson's company after shopping at the mall, I suddenly felt the urge to visit him. Coincidentally, I happened to witness Grayson arguing with his father. I know you don't like him, but he's still your brother. Are you really going to stand by and watch him die? Just 80 million, could you really not spare that? Once Mason gets through this difficulty, he'll pay you back. It's not like he won't sign an IOU. Father-in-law was domineering, not at all like someone asking for a loan. Father overestimates me. I'd love to help my brother, but I'm powerless. The company's finances have been tight for a long time, and I'm already at my wit's end. Grayson wore a distressed expression. The moment I ask to borrow some money, you start crying poverty. Brothers should support each other. As the older brother, you should set an example. After we're gone, he'll be your only family. If you don't help him, who will? Think of a way. Father's authority didn't work, so the old man resorted to emotional blackmail. He's in trouble, and you're so concerned. But when I'm in trouble, I never see you do anything for me. Am I not your son? Figure out a way to save Mason yourself, take out a loan, sell your company, house, or car, just don't bother me with it. Grayson looked annoyed as he ordered the guest to leave. How could I have such a heartless son? Seeing Grayson's resolute attitude, my father-in-law said these words in an utterly disappointed tone before striding away. 2 minutes passed before I quietly emerged from around the corner. In the office, Grayson's silhouette looked somewhat lonely, and I couldn't tell what he was thinking as he faced the vast floor-to-ceiling window. Honey, I lilted my tone, trying to sound light-hearted and cheerful, I've come to see you. What brings you here? Grayson wheeled his chair toward me, his expression already composed. Just passing by, I slurped my milk tea. Want some? It's the new flavor. Grayson took several large sips with a look of disgust. After hesitating for a while, I couldn't help but tentatively ask, I saw Dad earlier. What did he come to talk to you about? He came specifically to scold me for Mason's sake. I didn't expect Grayson to be so frank, I thought he'd try to brush me off. Does it upset you? A little. I stretched out my hands, do you want a hug? We happen to have the cutest height difference, it should feel just right. Get lost, Grayson pointed at the door, his voice flat. Oh. I complied readily, pausing at the door to turn back with a bright smile. Come home for dinner tonight. I feel a bit lonely by myself. Grayson replied haughtily, we'll see. I'll come back if I have time. Riley, is that your husband? My best friend tugged my arm, and I followed her gaze. It was indeed Grayson. A rare gentle smile rested on his usually expressionless face. The woman sitting across from him somehow felt familiar even behind oversized sunglasses. My friend assumed Grayson was cheating and kept venting on my behalf. I knew he wouldn't, he simply didn't have the means. But then I saw the news after getting home, and I couldn't hold it together anymore. Paparazzi captured Grayson having dinner with his ex-girlfriend Sophia. Most comments are shipping them as a couple, completely forgetting that Grayson is already married. Even the few who remember this fact are fantasizing that Grayson entered the entertainment industry to protect and support Sophia, silently watching over her even if they can't be together. A sweet and perfect love is what everyone hopes for, but a bittersweet, deep-rooted romance is even more talked about. Imagining Grayson's handsome face with that gentle smile, he must truly love Sophia, right? I never should have been Grayson's wife. There's no love between us, only mutual benefit. Stepping aside now to let them have their happy ending isn't too late. I quietly placed the divorce agreement on Grayson's office desk in his study. Over the past 3 years, I've saved enough for retirement and am willing to leave with nothing. Riley, you're divorcing me? Grayson frantically wheeled his chair to find me and slammed the divorce agreement in front of me. It was the first time I'd seen him in such a furious rage. The sheer intensity was truly intimidating, and I was a little scared. Yeah. I stammered nervously. Grayson clenched his fists, his face dark and his gaze sharp as he stared at me. Why? Watching Grayson suddenly leap to his feet, my emotions shifted from shock to confusion, and I muttered to myself, a medical miracle, huh? Divorce talk really works wonders? Your legs are better? Really? I shifted to get out of bed and check Grayson's legs, but with a single push, he pinned me down again, staring down at me with a cold smirk. Keep pretending, and your wife will really leave. One last chance, divorce, still on or not? I'm not leaving, I shook my head vigorously. Why did you want a divorce? The deep, questioning tone snapped me out of my daze completely. Since he had just been surprisingly intense but at least shown some kindness, if I didn't answer properly, or gave a flippant response, I'd probably face some punitive consequences. I recounted what I had seen and heard, then added in a low voice, you rekindled things with Sophia, I just wanted to end things gracefully. Riley, are you out of your mind? It was just a coincidence, having a meal together. If it was just a meal, why were you smiling so tenderly at her? Because your name happened to come up in conversation, it was an involuntary expression. Grayson gritted his teeth and reluctantly confessed, which secretly thrilled me. You expanded into the entertainment business, wasn't it because of her? No, I'm a businessman. I just wanted to make more money. Netizens say you initiated the breakup to avoid holding her back. %. Grayson fell silent for a moment before speaking in an icy tone. She was the one who thought I was a burden and initiated the breakup. Oh no, seems like I've unintentionally dug up an old wound. I reached out, circling my arms around Grayson's neck, and stared intently into his dark pupils with a serious expression. You were never a burden. Thank goodness she left, for it allowed me to find treasure. I'm sorry for misunderstanding you. I always thought our marriage was fragile, lacking the support of love, unable to withstand the slightest turbulence. Grayson's gaze softened as he chuckled lightly. I was just about to cultivate this topic further, but you apologized so quickly, now I'm at a loss. Not the least bit fragile, our initial encounter was indeed without love. But as we journeyed together, affection quietly sprouted, grew, and permeated everything. After Sophia entered the entertainment industry, her relationship with Grayson generated plenty of buzz and brought her considerable benefits. Faced with the gossip this time, Sophia not only didn't refute the rumors but even added fuel to the fire by making ambiguous statements. She remained a frequent trending topic for several days, soaking up the spotlight. This wave of publicity even landed her a new endorsement deal. Grayson is already married, yet Sophia is still clinging on to suck his blood. I simply can't stand it anymore, especially after learning that she was the one who actively dumped Grayson. My disgust for her has reached its peak. I immediately registered 2 social media accounts, one mimicking Grayson's and one for personal use, both with matching profile pictures and names as a couple. My personal account mainly showcases our daily affection, while Grayson's account mostly reposts and likes my content. Soon, netizens took notice, and some gossip accounts even fanned the flames, stirring up drama. The tide of public opinion began to shift, with Sophia transforming from a pure-hearted muse to a green TB*TCH. Some haters and casual onlookers made particularly harsh remarks, labeling her as the other woman. Sophia's team must have been monitoring the buzz, as the related hype suddenly died down, and certain keywords disappeared from sight. This time, I didn't even confront her directly, just a warning, hoping she gets the hint. Sophia called me. "What did you do?" Grayson asked, amusement glinting in his eyes. Instead of answering, I countered, "Did she go running to you to complain?" Grayson shook his head. "No, she apologized to me." "Humph, what could I do?" Subtly asserting my sovereignty, "That's all." "Well done," Grayson ruffled my hair. I knew she was using me to build her image, and I couldn't be bothered to respond. "Sorry for making you unhappy." "No need to apologize, I've already found my happiness back." "Want to make me even happier?" "I do." I threw myself into Grayson's arms, slightly bashful. "Let's have a baby." "All right." Extra, Grayson's perspective. In order to obtain Sinclair Group's core technology, my father arranged for me to marry the daughter of the Sinclair family. The eldest daughter of the Sinclair family married over. She wasn't what I expected, neither tiptoeing around me nor looking down on me. She treated me like a normal person, but whenever I ran into trouble, she'd step forward without hesitation to protect me. Riley always had some peculiar ideas. Like now, she told me to sit on the sofa while she settled into my wheelchair. She curiously explored it with her hands and soon figured out how to operate it. I watched as she happily scooted back and forth across the living room in the wheelchair. Tired from playing, she stopped beside me and marveled, "Your electric legs run pretty well, very nimble." On a trip back to Riley's home, I noticed she wasn't very close to her parents, brother, or sister. Only then did I learn she had just been found and hadn't yet built a close relationship with them. I suppose this must be one of the reasons she married me? After all, facing relatives awkwardly is much harder than facing strangers. Remembering that I, too, have sparse family bonds, I couldn't help but feel a twinge of affection for her. Since she likes money, I sternly transferred her $200,000, hoping it might help her forget her troubles. I thought we'd just muddle through for a few years before divorcing, never expecting Riley to actually entertain the idea of growing old together. She might have said it casually, but I took it seriously. I began active treatment, cooperating fully with the doctors. I couldn't possibly just watch from the sidelines when Riley joins the square dancing, could I? Humph, I refused to let those old men have the upper hand. My legs recovered remarkably well. I secretly practiced walking and progressed from shuffling step by step to walking with complete ease. I was secretly planning a big surprise for Riley, keeping it from him. Little did I know, before I could give him my surprise, he shocked me first. He actually wanted a divorce. I was so furious I couldn't stay seated. But after clearing things up, it turned out to be just a false alarm.